holiness white and Jewish, and they had LGBT elements among them. You could tell by their fashion, by their pagan history, etc. Right? A bunch of guys in the church always were raping little kids, and not everyone in the church perhaps, but a bunch of them always in the news, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. Boy Scouts and pederasty. So in this video, I will overkill why it is insane to think that I'm wrong about the government fuming me and poisoning me and using technology. Okay? So first point I'm going to make. The government is said to stay 20 years ahead of the general public in technology. Does that make sense? Is there such a thing as top secret and classified information? Do colleges beat the government in regards to critical technology for intelligence operations in the military? It's laughable. They find these guys, they contract them, they insist that that technology goes to the government first. I don't understand, I don't think that anyone, and I can understand the type of person that would pretend, I don't think that anyone doesn't understand that. Okay? They're filming me and they're poisoning me and they're using technology to mess up my speech. And their argument is like the Romans and the Jews and the gays and the LGBT people, because the Roman Empire, like the Greeks, full of LGBT people. LGBT cultures forged their culture. Look up Zeus, whose Roman equivalent is Jupiter, is the king of the gods in Rome, okay, and pederasty and Ganymede and so on and so forth. Okay? Their argument is that the whites and the Jews and the LGBT community, they killed Jesus, were right, and that's the path you should go down by their actions, As they change my image in this video, in these videos, to make me look weird, to make us all look weird in the videos, and they change my voice and cause me to stumble my words. They say he's a babbling idiot, right? Babylon. It's stupid. My second point. The first home computer was the Altair in 1974, the first home computer. This is 1974. Okay? It's like 35 years ago. Excuse me, it's 45 years ago. 45 years ago. Well, look at World War II, right? In 1940s, they were working on rocket science for Wernher von Braun and so on and so forth. Okay? They had tanks, they had planes. Okay? They had all sorts of technology in 1940. Okay? That is 81 years ago, during World War II. They did all kinds of mind control operations since then. Regardless of what conspiracy theorists say, that's the operations that were taking place. This is part of the fact-based timeline. So it's ridiculous to think that in 2021 that these people aren't using technology on the general public. Point number 3, over 130 U.S. personnel reported having directed energy attacks on them, and they're having trouble securing money in a lawsuit and so on and so forth. CIA officials were said to, at least one of them, hang up on them when they called about it. So there's documented evidence of government denial, even though it's obvious and in the news, and we'll get to that in a second. September 22nd, 2020, independent.co.uk. They say they've developed computers that can monitor brain activity and present what the user is thinking in images. Remember, this is 2020, but the government stays 20 years ahead of the general public in technology. Even if they only stayed 12 years ahead. I started making videos 2009. I started reporting these complaints probably 2012, I think it is. But it was obvious that they were targeting me in a very obvious manner. In an obvious manner. They're sabotaging me my whole life, but targeting me in an obvious manner since 2011. Okay? So now keep listening. Vox reported that in 2019, August 5th, that Facebook was developing mind-reading technology. So there's all kinds of different groups developing it. Government groups, Facebook, private corporations, and universities. As we see in 2018, August 7th, 2018, computerworld.com, the University of California, San Francisco, mere 45 minutes to an hour away. Okay? We're working on mind control technology. They developed computers, they could read the mind. 2018. Okay? So over 3 years ago, August 7th. These people aren't even that far away. Guardian 2019 talks about the BCI, brain computer interface. So it's well documented mainstream media. We see there, you can look up right now on YouTube directed energy weapons being used in a mechanism, in a kind of Humvee-like vehicle, okay, as they prepare to use it on protesters, okay. It is being used on political dissidents. So it's well documented that mind control technology exists. Even 130 U.S. personnel reported directed energy weapons being used on them. The computers can read the mind, and that the government stays 20 years or so ahead of the general public in technology. Now notice, compare this video to the video I made before this. I made it right before this-ish, maybe 10 minutes before. The one about the martial art principles. I basically don't stumble on a single word. Why is there fumes, right? And you hear my mom coughing in that video? There's fumes in the air. Now remember, there's over 20 witnesses to this thing going on. Some of them covertly recorded. Most of them said that if they change their story in the future, that they're lying in the future and not at the time when I recorded their testimony. It's pretty straightforward what is going on here. And the West can't just do whatever it wants, swear up and down that they're treating people fairly. They said separate but equal. And segregation, was it equal? No. They said they set the slaves free. And I'm out of time. So they cannot claim to be valid redeemers, have a valid path in the future. The planet is done. You people have overkill that your governing class is evil. You practice theater arts and propaganda arts for years. You do not have believability. So therefore, no decent person reproduces, and no decent person will be alive after I die unless